They're eating the dogs, Ciarnan, in Tuscaloosa.
They're eating the
you know
dogs.
that?
They were
They're
eating
the dogs.
Oh, a meth raccoon.
Yeah.
Just awful. There is nothing good about this. It's the worst possible scenario for the CFP, for the national championship.
Notre Dame is a mid-program with really good marketing.
And the Michigan players are going to look at that, and anybody who's committing to Michigan in the next years, and just go, I want to beat them even more. Like, I wanted to beat them when I first came to the school. Recruits are going to see this.
And we're also sorry that you have to watch a Brian Kelly coach football team. We can only imagine how difficult that must be for you, knowing that you're not going to win a big game ever with him as your coach, and that you're rooting for a child murderer.
This podcast has gone off to a really weird start, but I like it.
I love it, though. I'm a big fan. We're back. Welcome back to Tailgate on the Quad, the preeminent shenanigan podcast on the Bel Air Sports Podcast Network that also talks about college football sometimes. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Ciarnan. Ciarnan, how are you doing, pal?
I'm doing great. The college football stuff has officially started, especially with the end of the SEC Media Day. I'm pumped. People are posting about it, making noise, lots of different things going on. I am so excited.
I'm also excited. Ciarnan did partially give it away, but we are into our conference previews. Those, I just got a recruiter reach out to me on LinkedIn and told me the salary band for the job she wants me to apply to, and I'm out. A disrespectingly low offer.
That's staying in, because this just goes to show that boosters and recruiters are out there for everyone. Even Kev's got an offer, although albeit low.
I'd be hitting the portal immediately.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm going to Austin P or Mercer or UMaine or FCS Southeast, all the schools you can see on Indiana's schedule for the next 5 years. Because Indiana has canceled their home and home versus Virginia, where they paid $500,000 to do this, replacing it with Austin P, paying them $400,000 to play, which is now almost $1 million just not to play Virginia. And they also canceled their home and home with Louisville last year and this year, replacing it with Kennesaw State, school that just made the jump to the FBS level and fired their coach halfway through the season. And they now have no Power 4 non-conference games over the next 5 years. Kurt Cignetti, I was all in on last year. I am as far out on Indiana football, I think, as I possibly could be.
Yeah. He has taken something brilliant and ruined it in a weekend. It's incredible.
If they had gone, you know what? We heard what you said. F all y'all. We are playing the hardest schedule we possibly can. Once you can schedule these non-con games instead of just canceling them willy-nilly. It's scared. It's scared football, and scared money don't make money, Ciarnan.
Absolutely not.
I'm out on Indiana. They're going to finish bottom 5 in the Big Ten this year because they're scared. They're cowards. And I could go on a rant for days about Kurt Cignetti. Unfortunately, the language I would want to use, I would get in trouble with Bel Air Sports for that. So we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But Ciarnan,
go on.
I was going to ask what your thoughts, more in-depth thoughts before I start dropping F-bombs.
Yeah, fair enough. It is the softest thing ever. If you had gone and just said, yep, we're playing these guys, and then, the next time this comes up for contract negotiations or talks or whatever, we're going to play even harder guys. Respect through the window. You could lose all those games. I wouldn't care at all. I would be interested to see what could happen. Now I'm looking at it going, this is in the midst of the Big Ten wanting to get 4 guaranteed spots in the CFP. So you're going to guarantee yourself a spot in the CFP. That's horse manure. that is the biggest load of stat padding I've ever seen. Go out and win big football games and we'll respect the hell out of you. And you can even lose them, provided you talk a big game and it's a fun game to watch. But that is soft as hell. You're guaranteeing yourself at least a competent finish, and that is the weakest mindset you could possibly have.
Yeah, it's not great. And look, Louisville 9-4 finish the year before. I'm not saying you should be scared of them if you want to be competing for national titles, but they are a decent program. Again, not defending the move, but because Indiana is a bunch of cowards, which we've established, I see why they did this. Virginia hasn't had a winning season above 500. They've gone 500 a couple of years, but since 2019, pre-COVID, when Bronco Mendenhall was their head coach, they went 9-4, and they lost the Orange Bowl to Florida after getting blown out by Clemson in the ACC championship, 62-17. So that's 9-5. Not a bad year for Virginia in 2019. Since then, 2020, 5-5. COVID year sucks. 2021, 6-6. Was supposed to play the Fenway Bowl against SMU, but that was canceled. 2022, new coach Bronco Mendenhall is gone. 3-7. 1-6 in the ACC. 2023, 3-9, 2-6 in the ACC. 2024, 5-7, 3-5 in the ACC. Why are you so scared of Virginia?
I don't know. It's unless Virginia has just like pulled the rug over everyone's eyes and got absolute all-star talent, which we know nothing about, there's no reason to not have them on your schedule. Like Indiana last year, 100% can beat Virginia. No doubt about it. They might struggle against Louisville, but a betting man would probably put their money on Indiana. That there is no reason to take them off your schedule. It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's terrible, and I don't want to hear anyone complain about the 8-game SEC conference schedule now when Indiana is canceling Power 4 non-cons for Austin Peay. I don't want to hear it. You lose your leg to stand on if you're going to go, well, we have 9 games, and then you're scheduling strictly FCS. Alabama is playing Florida State and Wisconsin this year, and they scheduled Florida State when they were in the middle of a run of making New Year's Six Bowls. I think it was 5 straight or something like that. And they scheduled Wisconsin when Wisconsin was finishing second in their division in the Big Ten. Now, it was one of the weaker divisions, but nonetheless, still one of the top 5 schools in the conference.
Mm-hmm, certainly.
But they play one less conference game, Ciarnan.
Oh,
so Indiana's schedule is just so much better when they're playing Austin Peay, University of Maine, and just some other school nobody's ever heard of, Colorado School of the Mines. It's absurd. I hate it. And look, canceling Virginia really has one thing that we don't know that I would be more okay with the move they did. If they were scheduling $28 million on their roster, like Texas Tech is this upcoming season, per Pete Nakos, it's getting out of hand.
Yeah. Seriously.
Where did Texas Tech get $28 million?
Did they sell nuclear secrets to Saudi, maybe?
Oh, that's true. They might have.
There you go. They saw what they saw what their neighbors were doing at Texas A&M, and they're like, "Oh, let's get in on that action."
Good fiscal decision making.
Yes,
by Texas Tech here.
Yeah,
over there in Lubbock. Or maybe Wes Welker ponied up some career earnings. Michael Crabtree gave some. Maybe Patrick Mahomes, some of his, I think, $1 billion, $500 million contract. Maybe just slid them a cool $30 million. It's like, this is pocket change to me, guys. Just
Yeah, and
Be good.
even better, because now Patrick Mahomes can say, "Oh, I made this charitable donation to a school, therefore it's a tax write-off." So it's a win-win all around.
That's true. It's very true. I don't have anything else to talk about this. It's just that and schools have spent more. Schools have spent more than the $28 million. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Those schools historically, when they couldn't pay players, were a hell of a lot better than Texas Tech. Why is Texas Tech spending this much money?
Yeah. They have those rare, once in a generation talents for sure, but it's not $28 million worth consistent.
No, I would argue that one season they have every 20 years isn't worth $28 million. But they're throwing away money, much like the Bengals are throwing away a draft pick. Yes, that is correct. We're talking the NFL. Shamar Stewart is not thrilled with the Cincinnati Bengals. He refuses to sign his rookie contract. He could return to play for Texas A&M this upcoming season and re-enter the draft, but the Bengals would still own his draft rights. Ciarnan, what are your thoughts on Shamar Stewart?
This was a really weird situation when I first heard about this. I'm like, I didn't know that was even a possibility. Like, I thought once you were drafted, you kind of like have to sign. I thought that was the whole point, but I guess not. I am clearly mistaken. But it's one of those things. It's like, it's really weird. I don't know who's more at fault, the Bengals or Shamar. Like, obviously there's it's contract negotiations, and I get that, but it's weird that you're going into the NFL, you have the potential to make millions of dollars, which you now kind of also sort of do in college football, but not nearly to the extent that you can in the NFL. And like, what I guess my concern is, why risk the injury? Like, why risk going back to Texas A&M, injuring yourself, falling in the draft pick, and actually end up worse than you could be right now if you just, add a couple of digits or whatever he needs to the contract?
I think, well, with the NFL, first round picks, they are locked into a certain amount of money. 17th overall pick, $18.9 million total value, $10 million signing bonus. It's over language, trigger voiding of salary guarantees with a breach or default by him. Bengals want to tighten it up. Shamar Stewart does not. And I think, to be honest with you, though, it's the Bengals. This is probably the right career move for Shamar Stewart. Unless they're paying you a bag, don't go to Cincinnati. And we've actually seen something similar in the NFL before, Ciarnan.
Oh.
1986.
Right.
Bo Jackson. Okay. He said he wanted to focus on baseball, didn't want to play in the NFL. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that not great organization. The owner of the Buccaneers and Alabama alum Hugh Culverhouse, think this is where the SEC gets wild. That was 100% just to get him off the football field. It took on a private jet to visit the team, get a physical during his senior baseball season. Told Bo Jackson, like, hey, yeah, no, this was cleared by the NCAA and the SEC. Guess what it wasn't, Ciarnan?
What?
Cleared by the NCAA and the SEC. Bo Jackson is ruled ineligible for the baseball season. And he just kind of said, hey, draft me if you want. I'm not playing for you. And then they drafted him first overall. And he refused to sign. The following year, he was drafted in the 7th round by the Raiders after playing for the Royals, so did not go back to college. And yeah, so we've seen something similar, but not quite the same, with the option to go back to college. It's hilarious and the most Bungles thing I've ever heard.
That's a good one, Bungles. I'm going to have to use that from now on.
Oh, it's great. It's my favorite way to describe the football team in Cincinnati. And, I mean, look, if this goes horribly wrong, there's a chance they could be looking for a new coach. And according to Greg McElroy, there's one person for the job, not necessarily for the Cincinnati Bengals, but in general, Greg McElroy is indicating that someone, quote unquote, in the know said coach is returning to coaching. There are a few teams that I would be okay to see this for. Alabama, and nothing against Kalen DeBoer. I just love Nick Saban.
Yep.
Hawaii, just because he's earned it.
Yeah. Okay.
Look up some rays, relax, have some fun. It's out in the Mountain West. Just, enjoy yourself in your retirement
relax.
years. Kent State.
Yep, of course.
Just for nostalgia.
Yep.
And the New England Patriots. Those are the only teams I'd be okay with watching.
Yeah.
Or just a really funny one. And Hawaii's sort of in that category, but
yeah.
We just talked about Austin P. What's the school where a coach big timed us? Not University of Tampa.
No.
Oh, what was it? Not important. One of those random schools, an NAIA school.
Yeah.
North Dakota State. Just something weird.
Yeah.
But Caden, what do you think the odds are that he comes back from coaching? Or comes back to coaching?
I don't know. Because it's one of those things where it's the classic dilemma of, do I end on the high and just kind of ride off into the sunset? Or do I come back, last little glory run before you're officially done, and you just either can't keep up with it, your health gets better of you, whatever. And I'm like, I want him back. I don't want him back at Alabama for obvious reasons, but I would love to see him at any of those other schools that you had just mentioned, purely for the hilarity that will basically turn the program around, because Saban can coach anybody. So it's one of those things, I would rather see him do a last little blaze of glory somewhere like Kent State or Hawaii. I know those are ludicrous long shots, but I think it would be more fun to see that way. I would rather him not go to another Power 4 school, because I think that'll just be it'll be too much. I couldn't do it. But yeah, any FBS school or excuse me, FCS school, or a low to mid tier FBS would be great.
I don't think there's a good chance of it. I think Greg McElroy is full of shit. Since he left Alabama, and he's pissed that they kind of blame, a lot of Alabama fans blame him for not winning another natty in 2010 and their fall apart. He's pissed how much love AJ McCarron gets. So he's worked really hard to go, no, I'm not biased towards Alabama. In fact, I'm so anti-biased, I hate Alabama. And that's basically all it takes. It's all, Alabama sucks. They're garbage. They're never going to win anything again. So I don't think Greg McElroy knows shit.
Which will be hilarious if Kalen DeBoer wins anything in the next 5 years.
Oh, I hope he does and goes McElroy.
Yeah, there it is.
There's
our one PG-13 F-bomb that we can use.
It's not the first 30 seconds, so YouTube's going to be fine with it. It might be first 10 minutes, actually, but I think we're well past that. I don't think he's going to come back. I think he's just going to keep doing what he's doing. He's going to enjoy life. He's going to spend time with his family, something he couldn't do for 40 years. And Kirby Smart actually had a different take on it, said it's not Nick Saban's decision. He said, make no mistake about it. The boss at home, referring to Miss Terry, is going to make that call for him, not him. That is the only way. If she gets sick of him being at home and it's a really rainy spring, so he doesn't really play a lot of golf that spring and can't get out on the lake, I could see her kind of going, all right, you need to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Go back to coaching.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's been true ever since he retired. Is actually, that's not even fair. Ever since he was a coach, I think Miss Terry 100% owned the reins of that house, deciding whether or not to retire in a certain year. There's, like you said, there's hardly any chance. It would be fun, but there's hardly any chance.
Yeah, unfortunately, which I don't know if he would be in it. It would be cool to see him in a college football video game again.
Oh, yeah.
But we mentioned the better of the Alabama quarterbacks from the early 2010s, late 2000s. A.J. McCarron, he had some thoughts on Hugh Freeze in his talk about how Auburn is the one. We're following all the rules, where my golfing's not an issue. A.J. McCarron called as it is. Hugh Freeze is full of shit, he said. I think Hugh Freeze is trying to do whatever he can to save face. He's starting to feel pressure at Auburn. I think going into his third year, not having the success that the alumni, the boosters, everybody donating a lot of money thought he would have by this point. I think he's trying to figure it out and scramble on why they're not successful. I think A.J. McCarron's 100% right. And Hugh Freeze, the reason y'all are not successful is you're not that good a coach. You got this job because you beat Alabama once, like a lot of coaches, and you are not recruiting well because you're spending too much time on the golf course. Crack the code, Ciarnan.
Yep. I cracked the code. It's so funny because Hugh Freeze is trying to defend himself, going like, oh, I'm there all the time, but if we finish at say 3:45 and the tee time's at 4:30, I'm going, or something along those lines. And I'm just like, no, that's an extra hour and a half, 2 hours. You should be out on the phones, calling people, getting people to come down to Auburn to do anything that you can, because your draft class is currently, or your current rank is 71. I think this past Wednesday, so a week ago, and it's like you don't get to dilly-dally on the golf course when you're suffering this badly.
And I think part of it is, if you're like, oh, can we wrap this meeting up? I got a tea time. What does that tell your players? Look, if the meeting's done and you stay there and you are meeting with staff, I'm not sure if they can meet with players currently, but meeting with staff, going over film from last year for your team, for your opponents coming up who haven't had a lot of turnover, what you think they're going to do. It shows that you're putting in the extra work. So why can't your players? And by going, I got a tea time, it's like, oh, cool. So once we're done with our meetings, we're done. So I'm going to go to a party, or I'm going to go hang out somewhere. Like, I'm not going to keep working hard. My coach isn't. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. It's a bad reputation to have. Like, if you want to go golfing and you're in the off season and it's February and you're on vacation or whatever, that's fine, right? We get it, right? It's the off season, playoffs are done, championships done, draft is 2 months away. That's fine. That's all well and good. But when you're doing that, when you need to be nose to the grindstone, like on it, it's a terrible look. It's just saying like, oh, I don't care enough about this program and what we're doing to stay around and make sure it's the best thing possible. If you put in the effort and you're shit, fine. Okay. It stinks. It's whatever, but it's fine. But you're not even showing that level of effort.
It's a big part of it is also just optics.
Yeah.
He has to realize that. Regardless of what he says, being on a golf course in mid to late July is not a good look for your staff at Auburn. Any of them, not just you. And then if your team's not great coming out of the gate, well, a lot of people are going to be talking about how you spent all off season golfing.
Very much so.
Or accounts are going to be tweeting how the George Bush clip saying, now watch this drive, when talking about Hugh Freeze at a recruiting visit. I mean, these are the kind of things, the negative thoughts and looks that you are giving to your program. One of those was us. Follow Aqua Tailgate on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It's a good time.
We're going to make Hugh Freeze trending.
Oh, he doesn't need any help with that, and it's rarely for good things.
Yeah, he doesn't need our help. He's terrible as it is.
Yeah, both on and off the field. Just not a great guy. But moving on to our last, mainly Alabama topic. I feel bad that we just did 3 in a row. We talked a couple weeks ago about Thomas Castellanos' comments about Alabama saying, Nick Saban's not there. We're going to beat them. We're going to win. They're not going to be good. Alabama linebacker Deontay Lawson at SEC Media Days said all disrespect will be handled accordingly, which tells me one thing, Ciarnan. Y'all better be scared.
I'm quaking in my boots.
That is not something that someone with a chip on their shoulder, without a chip on their shoulder and does not expect to win every game, does not say. Alabama is back. They had a brief hiatus for a year. Y'all better be scared.
I would love it. I would love it if you guys were not actually that good. And especially Deontay Lawson just shits the bed.
Ciarnan, I have a question. Why do you want me to kill myself?
I don't. I want you to be just on the verge.
You know what? That's fair. I'll give you that.
It's that threshold.
Remember how miserable the podcast was when I was not having fun last year?
What? No, I thought it was pretty fun.
No, so when Alabama's dominating, when joyless murder ball is on the menu, it's not fun for anyone but me.
Yes.
When Alabama is not winning by 30 every week, it's not fun for anyone, including me, because I'm a miserable bitch. Like, those are the two options. There's no in between.
We lost by 3 to LSU. Might as well just off me.
Okay, well, if we lose to LSU without a generational team and a quarterback on one leg, I would probably cry.
Fair enough.
Especially to a Brian Kelly.
Oh yeah, that would be
coached
even worse.
LSU team. I'd be climbing into the scissor lift.
That's it. Right here, sir.
I'd have to find one. Actually, I think my apartment complex always has one lying around somewhere. So, problem solved, Ciarnan. So my life is in your hands, Caleb DeBoer. Not actually. I'm not going to do anything. But speaking of people who shake my confidence and make me miserable, Diego Pavia has said, 7-6, not good enough. I came back because I want to win a national championship with Vanderbilt. Ciarnan, what are your thoughts on Diego's comments?
Optimism, 10 out of 10. Reality, 3 or 4 out of 10. You might win a couple of games, but let's be honest. You're not having the season that you did last year. And frankly, your last season, you still lost a bunch of games, right? You weren't even able to make it into the playoffs. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. And yes, Coach Clark has done a great job recruiting and flipping some players. I believe he just got, who was it? The 4-star running back, Evan Hampton from Louisville, which is a great ad. Don't get me wrong. But you're still Vanderbilt, and you're playing in the SEC, the toughest conference in college football. Let's try and make it into the top 25 and stay there consistently, and then we can talk about maybe entering the playoffs.
Yeah, when I first saw this headline, I was like, wow, bold of Diego Pavia to sue for another year of eligibility and then immediately transfer. Yeah, I thought there was no way he came back to Vanderbilt to win a national title. That's just not something people do. Maybe if it was baseball, maybe if it was some mathlete thing, speech and debate, whatever. Okay, it's going to take a lot of work, but I think football, no, it's not going to happen. You'll be lucky to be within 3 games of the SEC championship. Lucky to make the Birmingham Bowl. And a lot of people are going to point out, well, they beat Alabama last year. Yeah, at home. Vanderbilt has not beaten a ranked team on the road in, I think, a decade, if not longer. hey, Diego, you're going to have to be able to do that to win a national title. And I don't see them doing that this year. Vandy's not winning a title. I think even the most optimistic Vanderbilt fan, even then, they're just there for the baseball.
Yeah.
Would agree.
Yeah, and it's just a weird thing to, like, I don't know, if you had transferred somewhere else, say Ohio State, Penn State, even within the SEC, to I can name a litany of different schools, I would say, okay, there's a realistic chance that you might make the playoffs at the very minimum. You might not make it all the way, but that would be a good start. But Pavia seems to have this belief that Vandy can do it this year. So let's, we'll wait and see how good they are week 1, and we'll, go from there. The world's on your shoulders there, Pavia.
Yeah, I'm looking at Vandy's schedule. Let's see how good they are week 1. Let's see how good they are like week 2. If they beat Charleston Southern, let's try not to get our hopes up too much. That team did lose to Florida State last year. So not a litmus test for how good you are. But Virginia Tech, South Carolina, we all know they do against Georgia State. So I just hope October 4th is a bloodbath. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I can't believe year 1, no Saban has made me have an undying hatred for Vanderbilt.
Well, I mean,
that's
you did
insane.
Lose. You did lose them.
That's true. It's insane, though, how far we have fallen. But quick drive over on I-42, Knoxville, Tennessee, Ciarnan. Can Josh Heupel right the ship after the Nico Iamaleava transfer, which they really should have seen coming with that last name, even though I know it's Iamaleava. But do you think that they will return to the college football playoffs?
I say, yeah. I'd say that I think they can, at the very least, recover. I don't think he was kind of a dickhead, to be honest. And frankly, just having that out of your locker room is pretty nice, I bet, from a coach's perspective. Whether they go as well as they did last year, we'll see. But will they at least knock on the door? Sure. I don't doubt it.
That's fair. I do think that they will recover. Josh Heupel made Joe Milton look like a competent quarterback for stretches. That's the most you can get out of Joe Milton. The Joe Milton experience, which Patriots fans were very accustomed to after preseason. But I don't think they will make the college football playoffs through no fault of the quarterback situation. The quarterback situation will be fine. I think it's going to be Alabama. Hopefully is going to bounce back. LSU maybe is going to come up. Mike Elko, year 2 at Texas A&M. Eli Drinkwitz, for some reason, has Mizzou looking legitimate most of the time now. South Carolina, I think the SEC is going to be much tougher this year.
Yeah, certainly.
So I don't think Tennessee is going to make it back, but I don't think it's going to be because of quarterback play. I think it's going to be everyone else getting better around them.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But with talk of the college football playoffs, there are obviously always discussions about the formatting because we just can't leave things be. Per Brett McMurphy, the Big Ten will not back off of their preferred college football playoff model where they are getting 4 automatic qualifiers for themselves until the SEC adopts a 9-game conference schedule. We could have talked about this earlier, but wanted to tack it on here towards the end. Like we said, have Indiana actually play a good non-conference team or an okay non-conference team, and then you can talk Big Ten.
Yeah.
As a Big Ten fan, Ciarnan, what are your thoughts?
So I get where the Big Ten is coming from with this 9-conference game schedule for the SEC, but we have just been discussing that this SEC conference, I mean, this conference is going to be arguably one of the hardest, if not the toughest overall conference to win this year, particularly with all of the moving pieces that have happened in the offseason, and that everyone looks fairly credible. It's not just Alabama and Georgia out in front anymore. There is a very real possibility that Mizzou gets a couple upsets of the bigger guys. There's a possibility that Texas can dominate. There's a possibility that Tennessee just wilds out at home. You never know. So I think that the Big Ten, first of all, needs to back off the 4 qualifiers anyway, because it's a dumb system. But don't have it be just because the other biggest conference, is not adopting the 9-game in-conference schedule. I think that's a silly reason to go about it.
Yeah, and this kind of standoff here is going to keep it, expected to keep it, at the 12-team limit where we're at now, which I'm fine with. I don't think it should be expanded. I still think 12 is too much. Interesting, though, that the Big Ten is really, really upset that the SEC only plays an 8-game conference schedule when in 2020, Ohio State only played a 5-game conference schedule, and they changed the rules to let them walk into the conference championship so they could have a college football playoff appearance to only get smoked by Alabama in the Natty.
That was so annoying. That was so annoying.
Yeah.
They weren't even that good. Like, Ohio State legitimately wasn't even that good that year. That was ridiculous.
I think that is the biggest example of coaching malpractice we've ever seen, with Ryan Day, Kerry Coombs, and Greg Madison, that national title, putting a slow white linebacker on the Heisman Trophy winning receiver.
Yeah.
For multiple plays.
Yeah, so dumb. I don't know what they were expecting in that scenario. Like, did they think it was just going to magically work without any help? Like, just all right. It's 5 years ago. We're moving on.
I went to that linebacker's Wikipedia page, Tough Borland, because I always think that's his name, but I'm like, no, Tough Borland was drafted like 7 years ago by the Saints. No, he was 100% on Minnesota. And he was on Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And then I looked and just saw the red that Wikipedia does. I'm like, no way is he still in college.
No, he's not.
He's a graduate assistant at Wisconsin.
Oh.
So that's what the red's for.
Okay, gotcha.
I got nervous for a second.
Yeah, that would have been wild. Because he was a senior or a junior, like, when that season happened, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a senior. He was a
team captain. I was going to say, like...
He started his college career in 2016, left in 2020 like a real student athlete does.
Yeah. All right.
But moving on to our last topic, SEC Media Days were the past few days. So we're going to go through the SEC win totals. I have the list from CBS. We're not going to go through what they said. I'm just going to give the total and the schedule, and then we will kind of go through over-unders. Ciarnan, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, we're just going to go through how CBS has their order.
Yep.
Alabama, starting off, over-under set at 9.5. They're playing at Florida State, Louisiana Monroe, Wisconsin, Vanderbilt at home, at Missouri, Tennessee at home, at South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois, at Georgia, and at Auburn. Ciarnan, over or under 9.5 wins for the Tide?
Over 9.5 wins.
Do you have an estimate, or are you just going to go over?
No, I'm just going to go over. I'm going to say they get the 10 wins. The loss at Auburn that CBS has is ridiculous. No, not happening.
It's at Auburn.
Yeah, I know.
That's the only reason why I'm
like, Auburn's coach is Hugh Freeze, so let's move on.
That's fair, but it's also at Auburn. Weird things happen on the plains.
Okay.
Kelsey and I talked about that a couple weeks ago when he was on. Go check out Kelsey from High Low Sports' appearance on Tailgate in the Quad. No, I agree with you, though. I do think it's going to be over. hammer the over. It's going to be a 12-win season. Undefeated, SEC title, and Natty all in one.
All right.
Next up, Arkansas. Over under 5.5. They are playing Alabama A&M, Arkansas State at Memphis, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Missouri at Ole Miss, Notre Dame at Tennessee, Auburn at LSU, and at Texas. The under, and Sam Pittman gets fired.
Yeah. I was debating this one. I was like, oh, can they squeak out a win at maybe Auburn or Ole Miss or something? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with the under. I can't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Sam Pittman too. I think he is an SEC coach.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, it's just he was really good a couple years ago, and then it's just gone downhill. Next up, Auburn. It's the under. The over/under set at 7.5.
Yeah, it's the under. It's the under.
They're at Baylor, Ball State, South Alabama, Missouri, at Arkansas, Kentucky, at Vanderbilt, Mercer, and Alabama, and then at Texas A&M, at Oklahoma, and Georgia. It is the under. Comfortably the under.
Yeah. Who are we kidding here?
It's so over for the Tigers. They're about to be paying their billionth dollar in a coach buyout. And it's just not going to be a pretty season.
I give Auburn. Actually, no, excuse me. I give Hugh Freeze the first 2 weeks. If he can't win either Baylor or Ball State, he's gone.
Yeah, I would say other ones too. Like if they can't beat South Alabama or Mercer, God forbid, that'd be hilarious though.
And a win at Vanderbilt with Diego Pavia? Yeah, right.
It's impossible when you're Hugh Freeze.
Impossible.
He's 0-3. Also, I do like how I know we weren't going to factor this in. We've already given our opinion. CBS Sports. Auburn's popular sleeper pick to reach CFP, and it's easy to see why. The Tigers are stacked. No, they're not. With a competent quarterback finally at the controls. Is the competent quarterback in the room with us? They're primed to tap into their immense offensive potential as the defense continues to improve. Led by Cam Coleman, the receiver room is loaded with potential game breakers, and the offensive line looks solid for the first time since 2019. Auburn's season opener at Baylor will be an early test. Road trips to Texas A&M and Oklahoma, quarterback Jackson Arnold's former school, are dangerous. And remember, Freeze is 0-3 against Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia. Can you guess, Ciarnan, based on what I just read you, what they picked? Over under. If they pick over under 7.5 wins, based on that analysis.
They picked the over.
They did.
Yes, of course they did.
But it's talking, here's all the really bad things that could happen. I don't get it. My computer kind of freaked out there for a sec.
Okay. I'll just say this. I'll say this. Do you remember last week how we were saying that some AI chatbot, did this article? I think it was about, what was it? The
coaching hot seat.
Coaching hot seat. Thank you. I think like an AI bot was just told to look at all of the seasons between 2000 and 2002 and just said, write up a thing about Auburn, about all the SEC schools, because either that or the person writing this was high and mistook Auburn for like Alabama or LSU or something, because that's ridiculous.
That's true. Next up, Florida over under at 6.5. Long Island, South Florida, at Miami, Mississippi State, at Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida State, at LSU, Texas, at Texas A&M, Georgia, and at Ole Miss. I'm hammering the over.
Yeah.
I think the defense is really good. DJ Lagway is going to be phenomenal. I don't think it's going to be super high over. I don't think they're going to make the college football playoffs. That is not an easy schedule, but I think Eugene Wilson might get them their first 1,000-yard receiver since 2002. That's not really a hot take. That's kind of what everyone's saying. But yeah, I think it's comfortably the over.
Yeah, I think it's the over too. I have no doubt that Florida can probably win at home. The only home game that they have where they would struggle is Georgia, but I think they could probably beat Texas at home if they're competent enough for the first half of the season.
That's true. That's a good point. Next up, Georgia. Over under set at 9.5. They're playing Marshall, Austin P, which is weird because I just railed against Indiana for playing them. Alabama, Kentucky, at Auburn, Ole Miss, Florida, at Mississippi State, Texas, Charlotte, Georgia Tech, and at Tennessee. Ciarnan, over under 9.5.
I'm gonna say over. I'm gonna have to give it the over, just because. And the only reason I'm saying that is provided Kirby Smart can stop his players getting arrested. It's the over.
Oh, it's a big ask.
It is a big ask.
But also, Georgia's one of those schools it does not matter who gets arrested for unsafe driving, for reckless driving, because they got a 5-star right behind them waiting.
Yeah, that is weird. That's a good point. Like, the Georgia depth there's so much second and third strings who are just as good as the first that it's almost like they have two full teams that they could send out there week in, week out. And what is it, predicted losses at Tennessee? Yeah, I see that because they're on the road, but also it's Georgia. Let's not discount them here.
That is true. I am also going to take the over. I do think they'll get 10 wins. I think they will still lose to Alabama because that's just what Kirby Smart does. But I do think the receiving room is expected to be better. They no longer have Sid the Sloth from Ice Age at quarterback. He's too busy cheating on his girlfriend in South Beach. So Gunnar Stockton can't be worse. He looked good too in the playoffs. So I do think the over, and I think Georgia's still going to be fine. Next up, Kentucky. Over under 4.5 wins, or not wins, but Toledo, Eastern Michigan, and Tennessee Tech. Ole Miss at South Carolina, at Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, at Auburn, Florida, at Vanderbilt, and at Louisville. I'm going to go with the under.
Okay.
I think Stoops has done his last bit of coaching for Kentucky.
All right. I'm gonna. Here's where we split. It's our first counterpoint rather. I'm getting the over. I think Kentucky was good enough last year. They didn't lose all that many guys. I think Stoops still has it in him. I think that I don't think that they're going to win more than say 6 or 7 games, but I think they're definitely going to go over 4.5. I think they can certainly pull off an upset at when they play Ole Miss, and maybe a random one, say Auburn or Florida. I don't think it's that bad, but I think I'm going with the over. I'm sticking with my gut here.
They have 7th-year senior Zach Calzada at quarterback. You sure you want to get that answer?
Experience.
Okay. Next up, LSU over under 8.5. Louisiana Tech, Florida, Southeastern Louisiana at Ole Miss, South Carolina at Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Western Kentucky at Clemson, at Alabama, and at Oklahoma. Give me the over, but barely.
Yeah. Okay. 100%. I'm with you on that, but give me the under. Any Brian Kelly led team is going to crumble. Give me the under.
I think they're going to get to 9 wins, but they're going to lose their 3 biggest games of the year.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably 100% true. Yeah, and they're going to be humiliating too. They're just going to be like the worst possible ways. Yeah,
either humiliating in terms of getting blown out or just gut wrenching.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Next up, Mississippi State. Rest in peace, Mike Leach. At Southern Miss. It's weird that they're going to Southern Miss. Arizona State, Alcorn State, Northern Illinois, Tennessee, at A&M, at Florida, Texas, at Arkansas, Georgia, at Missouri, and Ole Miss. Give me the over just because it can't get much worse.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very fair. Yeah, I'm going with the over as well. I can't see them losing. I can't see them losing all of those games. So
no, I think Southern Miss they can win. I think Alcorn State they can win. I think Northern Illinois only beats Notre Dame, and then Egg Bowl. Who knows what can happen?
Yeah, that's always a toss-up.
They might. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Next up, Mizzou over under at 7.5. Central Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, South Carolina, UMass, at Vandy, Mississippi State, Alabama, Texas A&M, at Oklahoma, and at Arkansas. Ciarnan, over under 7.5.
That's really difficult. Give me the over. Give me the over. They're looking good enough. I'm really hoping they can get another maybe get a not a 10-win season, but like 8-9 wins. That would be perfectly acceptable to them, I think.
I might have to go with the under, Ciarnan.
Oh, let's do it.
I mean, look, they lost Brady Cook. They lost Luther Burton. They have 3 guys who were on the offensive line last year leave. And I feel like Missouri has like these ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
They went 2013, 12-2, 2014, 11-3. So they get 2 good years. And then 5-7, 4-8, 7-6, 8-5 in 2018, 6-6, 5-5, 6-7, 6-7. Well, they went 11-2 and 10-3 the last 2 years. I do think it's time for them to go back, not down, not to 4-8 land, but I think it's time. I think Missouri's fun in the sun is over, and they're not an SEC team anyway. They're not real. I don't know why I've beef with Missouri now. I also don't like Rinkwitz. He bothers me. Next up, Oklahoma.
Why? So random.
Why?
Yeah.
He just annoys me.
All right.
Next up, Oklahoma over under 6.5. Illinois State at Temple. Auburn. It's weird they're going to Temple too. Kent State at South Carolina. Ole Miss, Missouri, LSU, Michigan, Texas, at Tennessee, and at Alabama. Ciarnan, over under 6.5.
Yeah, give me the over. I think Brett Venables has done a good enough job with both recruiting and making sure his guys are ready that I think he can do it. I think that little I don't want to call it a blip because it was a couple of years, but the Oklahoma downturn is coming back up. So I think they can get over 6.5.
I also am going to agree with you there. I cannot wait for Alabama to dominate them. But
yeah, it's only one game though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's fine.
Brought in new coordinator, brought along John Mateer to quarterback. Offensive line can't be as bad as it was last year. I think they're
the only way is up, really.
Yeah. Next up, Ole Miss over under 8.5. Georgia State at Kentucky, Arkansas, Tulane, Washington State, South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida, at Mississippi State, LSU, at Georgia, and at Oklahoma. Give me the under. I think their new quarterback is very impressive. He's like 19, I think, already working on his master's. Starting quarterback. I think replacing Jackson Dart will be a transition period. They lost Walter Nolan. He did have Lane did have the number 2 transfer portal class in the country. But I don't know about Austin Simmons, not against him. It's just new quarterback. He does know the system, but I don't know if I trust Lane this long in one spot either.
That's a good point. I think with that number 2 transfer class, I think Lane has just enough to get the over. I think that it's one of those things that, yes, Jackson Dart departing is difficult, but it's not impossible to come back from that. Like, you can get him on aggregate, whether it's between the run game or the pass game. And I think the guys that Kiffin has brought in will be enough to get him 9 wins.
Aggregate. All right, calm down, Billy Bean. This is also Lane's 6th year.
That reference.
This is also Lane's 6th year, which is his longest stop anywhere at any coaching level. So it might be time. He might start hitting up some of the bars, going for those sorority girls, already. And then I think he keeps it clean for the first 2 years. Then year 3, I mean, he was at Alabama for 3 seasons. He was at Oakland for 2, 1 for Tennessee, 4 for USC, 3 for FAU. So I think first 2 years, he keeps it clean. And that's also at USC, for example, 8-5 first year, 10-2 second year, 7-6 his third year. So that's when he started going to the bars, and then 3-2, and then fired. So who knows? Next up, South Carolina over under 7.5. Virginia Tech, South Carolina State, Vandy, Kentucky at Texas A&M, Coastal Carolina at Missouri, at LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama at Ole Miss, and Clemson. Give me the over.
Yes, absolutely.
Gamer Ball's back, baby.
Yep. Yeah, the predicted losses at Missouri and against Clemson, ridiculous. I 100% think that those are totally winnable games that will easily bring South Carolina over that 7.5 game.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Lenore Sellers is a Heisman candidate. I don't want to call him a Heisman lock, but
yeah, candidate for sure. Yeah.
Yep. Next up, Tennessee over under 9.5. Syracuse, East Tennessee State, Georgia, UAB at Miss State, Arkansas at Kentucky, Oklahoma, New Mexico State, Vanderbilt at Alabama, at Florida. I think the over.
Yeah. That's tough. I'm so
under.
hesitant.
Give me the under.
Yeah, okay. I was hesitant, but I think it's the under as well. I think they'll have one of these flukes that they lose to, like, say, a Vanderbilt or something like that just upsets their entire team and their prospects of getting into the college football playoff.
Yeah, I see Georgia at Alabama at Florida are going to be tough. Vandy, who knows what Clark Lee's cooking down there with Diego. But so I don't think it's going to be a bad season. I don't think they're going to miss a bowl game, but I don't think they're getting to 9.5 wins. Next up, Texas over under 9.5. San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston. That's a good amount of Texas schools. Actually, there's only 2. At Florida, Oklahoma, at Kentucky, at Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Texas A&M. There's 3. At Ohio State, at Georgia. I think I'm going to go with the over.
Yeah, give me the over. Yeah,
I think 10 wins, but yeah, I think that's still over.
Yeah, no, I think they will lose at Georgia, but I think they beat Ohio State. Despite that it's at the shoe, I think they still beat them.
That's
that
fair.
Ryan Day natty was a fluke.
I don't think it was a fluke.
Come on.
I don't think they will repeat because Ryan Day is back to coaching offense.
Fine. Fair enough.
If Ryan Day gets 1 ring, Chip Kelly gets 3. That is a Chip Kelly natty. Next up, the other Texas school, Texas A&M. UTSA, Utah State, Auburn, Miss State, Florida, Missouri, Samford. It's at Missouri, by the way. At Notre Dame, at Arkansas, at LSU, South Carolina, and at Texas. Ciarnan, over under 7.5.
Under. I'm going with the under. I can't see I don't know if like you substituted a game here or there for, maybe a different school, I could see it, but I can't. Mike Elko's a good coach, but I don't think he can get Texas A&M to where it needs to be this year. Maybe next year, but I don't think so.
Yeah, they limped to the gate last year. I hate, they're returning X amount of the team's production, like 71% for Texas A&M this year, but they weren't that good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. 71% of shit is still shit.
Yeah. If it's a team of you and me and they're trotting out 22 of us, 11 for each side of the ball, and we all come back, that's 100% of production. That doesn't mean we were any good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very weird ranking. It's like, yeah, we're returning players. Great. We're returning over 2/3 players. Awesome. Yeah, but you actually need to like score and defend at the same time.
Yeah. No, it's bad. Last school in the SEC, Vandy, over under 4.5. They're playing Charleston Southern, Georgia State, Utah State, Kentucky, at Virginia Tech, at South Carolina, at Alabama, LSU, Missouri, at Texas, Auburn, and at Tennessee. Ciarnan, over under 4.5.
Insultingly low. Diego Pavia will make this an over 4.5 win team. They've got it. They can at least get to 500.
Under.
Just because they beat Alabama last year doesn't mean you get to throw a damp rag all over their parade.
And they're not going to do it again. They're not going to do it again because they're on the road.
They might not beat Alabama, but they'll get over 5 wins or 4.5 wins.
Ciarnan. Virginia Tech, maybe. I'll give you that. At South Carolina, no. At Alabama, no. LSU, probably not. Mizzou, maybe, probably not. At Texas, no. Auburn, yeah, they're definitely winning that one. At Tennessee, no. Charleston Southern, yes. Georgia State, no.
6 wins right there.
I said maybe for like 5 of them.
Maybe's good enough.
All right, fine. Then we'll actually go with the ones I think they will win. Auburn, Charleston Southern, Kentucky. Yeah, that's 3.
They're not going to
maybe Utah State.
All right. Vandy,
so that's 4.
Guys, if any
4's under 4.5.
Player or fan is listening to this podcast, please prove my co-host wrong. Do anything in your power to prove him wrong. He's just a little sad because you guys beat him up last year and he wants to take it out on you.
Do you know why that game sucked so bad?
Yeah, because you shouldn't have lost in the first place.
Yes. Do you know where I was for that?
At your fiance's or wife now parents' house?
No. In Kansas.
Oh.
That makes it even worse.
Oh, it is worse.
I couldn't get hammered. I just had to sit there in Kansas.
Hi, Kevin's dad.
Kansas sucks. Diego Pavia, last year was a fluke. You had to sue to play more college because you're scared of the NFL because you're not that good. And y'all are winning 4 games maximum this year.
Quitter talk.
I'm not quitting. Diego Pavia is going to quit because he's going to wish he never came back to Vanderbilt. That is our show for this week, unless you have anything else, Ciarnan.
No, I'm good.
All right. Everyone have a good, safe, fun week and weekend. Make good choices. Get that liver a break. The 4th's over. College football season's coming up. Drink some water. Take some, vitamin A. Is that the vitamin that liver is good for your liver?
Yeah, A or K,
is that
or something like that.
Or is that the vitamin that comes from eating liver and other animals?
That might be the other one. Just get
vitamins
and
liver.
minerals into you.
Vitamin C.
Okay, yeah. So eat an orange.
Yeah. You stave off that scurvy and protect that liver so you can hit the ground running week 0. That's our show. Goodbye.
All right. See ya.
They're eating the dogs, Ciarnan, in Tuscaloosa.
They're eating the
you
dogs.
know that?
They were
They're
eating
the dogs.
Oh, a meth raccoon.
Yeah.
Just awful. There is nothing good about this. It's the worst possible scenario for the CFP, for the national championship.
Notre Dame is a mid-program with really good marketing.
And the Michigan players are going to look at that, and anybody who's committing to Michigan in the next years will just go, I want to beat them even more. Like, I wanted to beat them when I first came to this school. Recruits are going to see this.
And we're also sorry that you have to watch a Brian Kelly coach football team. We can only imagine how difficult that must be for you, knowing that you're not going to win a big game ever with him as your coach, and that you're rooting for a child murderer.
This podcast has gone off to a really weird start, but I like it.
I love it, though. I'm a big fan.